Hey, what up, YouTube? What up? Working on a 2012 Dodge Journey. My girl's Bluetooth went out. Had problems connecting and things like that. And went over to the dealership. This is the module. They're saying that the Bluetooth that controls the Bluetooth kind of looks something like this. This is the new one that came in the box just like that. Genuine Mopar parts. You could probably get them at your dealership for about $280. They're retail for about $280, but I got a good discount on it with a guy that I know that works there. He gave it to me for $180 plus tax. $180 plus tax, so it was almost like 200 bucks out the door. Here's the old one. I already took the old one off. Looks something like that. Same thing, just you can see it's worn. You can see where it was connected and everything. You can see the plugs. It's got three different individual plugs. It's got a real big prong plug there, smaller plug there, and then just kind of like a data port plug there, which is probably the one that connects to your stereo. I'm showing you this video putting it back on now. I took it off. I kind of wanted to see myself how to take this thing off, but you got to remove this bottom dash panel that covers your steering wheel column. The bottom shroud's got to be removed. You're gonna have two bolts holding it on, one there, you can see here, one there, and one on the other side, way on that side. You can see where the bracket's at, kind of. I don't know if you can see it there, right at the bottom there. And then you're also gonna have this little tree style, I like to call them Christmas tree style clips. This little clip here, this little clip you're gonna have to pull off as well to remove that panel. So you're probably just gonna need like a set of just like angle cutters or something like that. Don't cut it though, just use some sort of pliers, something to pull it out. You want to jiggle it out there so you can salvage it and reuse it. And then you're also gonna need some tools like a set of needle nose pliers, a ratchet, and some extensions, a smaller ratchet as well, a 1/4-inch ratchet. You're also gonna need one of the main ones, this guy here, this little T20 is actually, this is a size T20 for the screws. You see these black screws here, these are the ones that came out that hold the actual box in place, the black box, the module. You can see they're Torx head, so the size is T20. But you want to make sure you have it. You want to make sure you have the long one. See this one here, and the way I use it in here, because it's really tight space, is that I like to hook it up with the ratchet, with the smaller ratchet, with the quarter-inch size socket, and you can stick it in the socket in here just like that, and you can loosen it with that, tighten it with that. Is probably the best way you're going to be able to do it to get this back one. I'm going to show you right here to get the back screw, because this is going to get mounted in there upside down, kind of like this. So you'll get to this screw fairly easy here. Let's see here. Actually, yeah, this will be the easy screw to get to, and then the back one back here, that's the one you're going to need to use that like ratchet setup with the T20 size bit to get to it. It's going to be in a pain in the butt. That's probably going to be your hardest thing, and also disconnecting probably a couple of these connectors, because there's not much slack on the cable. But you're still also going to need to disassemble your brake pedal. It might sound like a lot of work. It's not really a lot of work. As you can see in here, I have it out already. That's where your brake pedal is set up, is connected. It's just 4 bolts, or actually 4 nuts that hook onto the studs there. And you're gonna have, I wanna say, one more all the way at the top. I don't know if you can see it up there. There's another nut that holds it up there. So you undo those. That's what the socket's set for, and also the extensions are for. I just use the socket set with the dual extensions. That's a 13mm socket for those nuts. These are the nuts. I already took them off, as you can see here. I'll put them back on in a second. And then I like to use this little, just a 12 volt, just Craftsman little hand drill. just to make it easier, make it faster, save some time to get that out. You're also going to disconnect this clip. This little clip here is the one that holds the brake pedal from coming off the booster, off the shaft that comes off the booster. Again, up here, you just use like a pair of needle nose pliers to get that off of there. You'll see the brake pedal, it'll be on there once you get to it. And then you're also, I'll show you here, this is the brake pedal I took off. You're also going to have this connector here that's on the brake pedal assembly itself. And then when you're taking this thing off, it's going to get mounted obviously something like this. As you can see, that's where the clip goes, what I was telling you guys about, where it goes into the brake booster shaft. And then up here at the top, you see that little hole there? You're gonna have a little connector, kind of a same style, the little tree connectors that I showed you earlier. You kind of just jiggle that out and it'll come out as well. That's just to hold the wire loom in place so it doesn't come out when you're taking it off. Make sure you disconnect it from there, or else you can't get the whole thing out. You want to get that off. And then also when you're disconnecting this panel, this bottom panel here, this one here, I'll show you real quick before I start putting everything back on. You're gonna have this panel here. This is just held on, like I said, the bottom. You got the 2 nuts, or the 2 bolts in the bottom, and then the 1 tree clip at that side. And then you just got these little spring-loaded clips that go in and they just lock in place. So you just take a flathead screwdriver and you can just kind of pry around the edges here to pop it off. It'll pop off itself. But once you're getting that off, there's going to be a little connector back here, a wire loop connector that hooks up there. It looks like it's got to do with your AC, your air system. That maybe it helps ventilate the air. But you want to disconnect that so you can get that whole thing off. But yeah, people said that that this module's are actually located underneath your, what is it, on the passenger side, but it's not on the passenger side. Some people say it's in the glove box. It's not there. Like I said, it's gonna be located right in here, underneath, all the way in there, underneath driver's side, behind the steering wheel dash area. I'll show you guys another. I'll come back as soon as I get this thing put on so you can see where it mounts and you can see a little more of what I'm talking about. All right, YouTube, I got this thing back on. That's the new one right there. That's the new box that's on, new Bluetooth module. As you can see, it's all mounted back in place. As you can see, it's kind of a pain in the ass to get to. Like I said, there's how it's gonna be once you mounted it on. And I found that it was a little easier for the back screw, the torque screw, is to take the actual bit, the T20 bit, and start it with the bit with your hand, because you can find the hole easier, so you can kind of feel it out a little better when you guys are putting it back on. It's just a little easier that way. You got it all connected, got it all hooked up. Now, one thing I do advise you guys to do, I already did it, but I'm not going to show it, is once you just hook them up, this is before you even plug it in, get everything plugged in, but don't mount it and get it all, you know, plugged in, and turn your car on and see if it works before you put everything back together, before you start mounting it back on, just to verify that everything's working like it should. So I just checked the Bluetooth, I reconnected the phone, paired them, everything synced great, everything's working good. And so that was the problem, that was the issue, was the module. So like I said, always do that before you start mounting things back together and everything. Now that I got that mounted, done, I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing back on here, the brake assembly here, and I'll be back. All right, YouTube, so I got the brake assembly back hooked up and working again. If you notice right here, if you look in there, that's where you're gonna connect your connector back to your brake assembly. And then up top there, that's what I was talking about, that little connector, the little tree style connector. You just put that back in there, the wire loom that just kind of holds it in place so your wires just don't get caught in anything. And then down here, so you can see, I got everything back up, got the bolts back, or the nuts back on, and there's the clip that I was talking about earlier that hooks up to the shaft that comes off through brake assembly, which is actually not your brake booster. I was calling it a brake booster earlier, but it's actually the brake cylinder. That's my bad. I don't really work on these Dodges, but yeah, that's just the brake cylinder, and then it comes off of it, and then it just hooks up to the brake pedal there, and as you can see, it follows it all the way back down to your brake pedal. But that's all hooked up, everything's back in place. It's just, it has to be removed in order to get to that box up there, as you can see. But make sure all your nuts are tight, everything back on. And all we have to do is just hook up this panel back up here, this shroud that goes underneath the column here, and you should be good to go. Alright, thank you. Alright, YouTube, I forgot to show you one thing, or actually just kind of mentioned it. When you're putting these bolts back on, they are just, remember there were just two up there, one on each corner. They're just a 10mm bolt. So just use a 10mm socket on them, and then that's all it is. You see, there's the tree style kind of push-in connector, or I should say plug. It's already back in place, and I just gotta tighten these up, and then so you can see it's all put back together now, back to stock, original, like it never was messed with. You just bang this in. Like I said, those clips would hold that in. And just tighten those bolts and you should be good to go. Your Bluetooth should be working.